The moment Ryan got down on one knee during my wedding reception wasn't the moment I realized he was a selfish narcissist. It was the moment I realized I'd been waiting my entire friendship for him to prove he valued literally anyone above himself, and he couldn't even let me have my wedding day. My name is Melissa Hart, and the story of how my supposed best friend tried to steal my spotlight and got destroyed instead is the most satisfying 60 seconds of my life. And trust me, those 60 seconds were a long time coming. Ryan Cooper and I had been friends since college. 10 years of friendship where I was always the supporting character in his main character fantasy. I planned his birthday parties while he forgot mine. I listened to his relationship drama for hours while he checked his phone during mine. I celebrated his promotions, his achievements, his moments. And when it was my turn, he was busy. Always busy. But I told myself that's just how Ryan was. Self-centered, but ultimately harmless. A friend who needed more than he gave, but was still worth keeping around. I was wrong. So spectacularly, devastatingly wrong. When I got engaged to my now husband David, Ryan's reaction was strange. Not happy strange. Jealous strange. He made comments about how David got lucky and how marriage was just a piece of paper and how I was rushing into things. But I ignored it because I'd learned to ignore Ryan's need to diminish anything that wasn't about him. I still asked him to be part of the wedding party. Still included him in planning. Still treated him like the friend I thought he was. 3 weeks before my wedding, Ryan started dating someone new. Her name was Chloe, and according to Ryan, she was perfect. The one. His soulmate. He brought her to my bridal shower uninvited. Talked about her constantly during my bachelorette planning. Made every conversation about his new relationship when people asked about my upcoming wedding. And I smiled through it because I'm stupidly, chronically nice to people who don't deserve it. But here's what I didn't know until 5 days before my wedding. Ryan had told Chloe he was planning to propose. At my wedding. During my reception. He'd bought a ring, planned a speech, and decided that my most important day was the perfect backdrop for his grand romantic gesture. And I only found out because Chloe's sister, who I barely knew, sent me a panicked message on Instagram warning me. I don't know if I should tell you this. The message read, but Chloe mentioned Ryan is planning to propose at your wedding reception. She thinks it's romantic. I think it's horrible. Thought you should know. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Read it 20 times. Waited for the anger to come. But all I felt was cold, crystallized clarity. This was who Ryan had always been. The person who made everything about himself. Who couldn't stand anyone else being the center of attention. Who would hijack my wedding, because he couldn't handle one day not being about him. I could have confronted him. Could have uninvited him. Could have handled it quietly. But Ryan had spent 10 years making me feel like my needs were secondary to his. 10 years of stolen moments and redirected attention, and making me feel selfish for wanting my own spotlight. So instead of confronting him, I made a plan. A beautiful, devastating, perfectly justified plan. I called Chloe's sister back, asked her for every detail she knew, confirmed the timeline. Then I did something Ryan never expected from sweet, understanding Melissa. I hired a private investigator, paid for a rush job, and what they found in 72 hours was absolutely magnificent. My wedding day was perfect. The ceremony was beautiful. David and I exchanged vows in front of 200 people who actually loved us. And during the reception, while everyone was dancing and celebrating, Ryan approached me with that familiar look. The one that said he was about to make something about himself. Melissa, can I borrow the mic for just a minute? I have something special I want to say. I smiled. Of course, Ryan. Take all the time you need. I watched him walk to the stage. Watched him take the microphone. Watched him call Chloe up with that practiced romantic gesture he'd probably rehearsed in the mirror. She came up, blushing, clearly knowing what was coming. The room went quiet. People pulled out phones. And Ryan began his speech. I know this might be unconventional, he started, but when you know, you know. And being here, surrounded by love, watching my best friend Melissa marry David, I realized I couldn't wait another day. He got down on one knee, pulled out a ring box. "Chloe, will you?" "Ryan, stop." My voice cut through the room like a knife. Every head turned. Ryan froze, one knee on the ground, ring box open, confusion spreading across his face. "Melissa, what?" I said stop. I walked toward the stage, heels clicking on the hardwood floor. "Everyone, I apologize for the interruption, but I need to share something important before Ryan continues. If you've ever had someone try to steal your moment, hit that like button. This one's for everyone who's been overshadowed by a narcissist." Ryan's face went white. "Melissa, this isn't appropriate." I finished. "You're right. It's not appropriate to propose at someone else's wedding. It's not appropriate to hijack your supposed best friend's reception. And it's definitely not appropriate to propose to someone you've been cheating on for the past month." The room gasped. Chloe's face drained of color. Ryan stood up, nearly dropping the ring. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, connected it to the venue's screen system. Thank God for tech-savvy wedding planners, and displayed the first photo. Ryan, 5 days ago, having drinks with his ex-girlfriend at a hotel bar. Then another photo. Him entering a hotel room with her. Then timestamps. Text messages. Evidence so clear even Ryan couldn't spin it. "Her name is Jessica," I said calmly. "You dated her for 3 years. Broke up 6 months ago. Started seeing Chloe as a rebound. But you've been sleeping with Jessica this entire time. Including last Tuesday, when you told Chloe you were at a work conference. You were at a hotel, with your ex planning to try again after you got this proposal thing out of the way." I looked directly at Ryan, whose face had gone from white to gray. "I found out 4 days ago that you planned to propose at my wedding. Did you really think I'd let you steal my day and not do my research? You've spent 10 years making everything about you. 10 years of overshadowing every achievement I've had. But not today. Today you don't get to be the main character." Chloe was crying. Not sad crying. Angry, humiliated, betrayed crying. She looked at Ryan with pure hatred, then ripped the ring from his hand and threw it across the room. "You absolute piece of shit." "Chloe, wait. I can explain." Ryan started, but she was already walking away, her friends and family following, shooting him looks that could kill. The room was silent. 200 people staring at Ryan as he stood on stage, exposed, humiliated, destroyed. He looked at me with something between shock and rage. "You ruined my proposal." I laughed. Actually laughed.
"No, Ryan.
"You ruined your proposal when you planned it for someone else's wedding. I just made sure everyone knew exactly who they were watching propose. A cheater, a narcissist, and a terrible friend." Before this story ends, hit subscribe and drop a comment if you think he got what he deserved. Your support means everything. Security escorted Ryan out after he tried to argue, tried to spin the story, tried to make himself the victim. Guests were messaging each other, posting on social media, spreading the story faster than wildfire. By the next morning, Ryan's public humiliation had gone viral in our social circle. Chloe dumped him publicly on Instagram with screenshots of the evidence I'd found. His ex, Jessica, posted a statement calling him a manipulative liar. His reputation was obliterated. And me? I went back to dancing with my husband, surrounded by people who actually loved us, on a day that stayed perfect because I refused to let Ryan steal it. The rest of the reception was incredible. People kept coming up to me, apologizing for Ryan, thanking me for standing up for myself, telling me I was a badass. David couldn't stop laughing, equal parts shocked and proud. 3 days later, Ryan sent me a long message. Paragraphs of excuses, justifications, and ultimately blame. He said I was cruel, vindictive, that I'd embarrassed him for no reason, that exposing him publicly was going too far. He said a real friend would have pulled him aside privately, would have protected him from humiliation, would have let him have his moment. I blocked him without responding. Because after 10 years of being his audience, his support system, his backup plan, I was finally done. Done with people who demanded grace they never gave. Done with friends who took and took and took and called you selfish when you finally said no. Done with being the understanding one while someone else played the victim. Ryan tried to reach out through mutual friends. sent apology emails I never opened, posted vague social media statements about toxic people who weaponize kindness. But nobody defended him, because everyone had their own story about Ryan making something about himself, about Ryan stealing moments, about Ryan being the center of attention while demanding everyone else shrink. 6 months later, I heard through the grapevine that Ryan moved to another city, started over where people didn't know his story, and I felt nothing.
No satisfaction. No guilt.
Nothing. Because he'd become irrelevant the moment I stopped letting him matter. My name is Melissa Hart, and this is the story of how my best friend tried to hijack my wedding to propose to his girlfriend, and I responded by exposing his lies in front of 200 people and destroying his reputation in 60 seconds. He thought I'd stay silent. Thought I'd let him have his moment because that's what I'd always done. He thought wrong, because the girl who spent 10 years being a supporting character in his story finally realized she was the main character in her own. And main characters don't let narcissists steal their spotlight. They reclaim it. They fight back. They expose the truth and let consequences do the rest. Ryan wanted an unforgettable proposal at my wedding. He got one, just not the way he imagined. And honestly, that makes it perfect.